Hello everybody, John Felt here. This is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing, April 11th, 2026. You know, this is the time of year when we get peak severe weather, so we'll be looking at that, as well as some really record heat this week. Let's get started. Well, first off, this is our risk assessment. I want to bring your attention that we could have a chance of severe storms over the central U.S. right through maybe early next week, this weekend into early next week. Now, right now, most of it is a slight risk, but let's keep an eye on that because there is that risk each day of severe storms. Another big story will be this very high heat setting up over the central and eastern U.S. with some moderate impacts and also some pockets of really heavy rain over the southern plains. Now, last week, this is where we had rain. Overall, pretty quiet. Some heavy rain in South Texas where it needs it. It's been very, very dry. Some heavy rain over the Florida Peninsula. Again, very dry. So produced some flooding, but also a welcome rain. And some pockets of heavy rain elsewhere, but most areas of the nation were pretty quiet. What about snow? Well, it's April. I'm still talking about snow because up here in the far upper Midwest, over almost a foot of snow in spots, and there's still some snow north of this line here I've marked on this map. So it certainly feels like winter still in those areas. And if you look at the departure from normal, the snow is keeping temperatures down well below normal in those areas in blue. Now, the warmest temperatures we had last week, we had temperatures above 90 degrees in these areas in red, South Texas and the desert Southwest. But look at this, that snow kept temperatures only in the 40s. What about cold temperatures? Well, minimum temperatures in the single digits up in this area right in here. So really cold weather. Now, right now we do have some dew points that are moderate over the southern plains into Texas. Those are going to stream north and produce some heavy rain. And that gives us a clue of where some of the precipitation action spots will be. Now, first off, let's look at rivers. This is often the time we're looking at peak flooding. Not too bad. Overall, parts of the middle Mississippi, upper Mississippi, running high to some low minor stages. That's the orange, that's low minor. We had a very narrow band of thunderstorms streak through here with some heavy rain in Kansas and some flooding in that area. Overall, for this time of year, pretty quiet. Now, low flows, a lot more low flows, and especially over the southeast here, this is an area, look at all these extremely low flows, so we need more rain in this area. Gives you an idea here on the main stem Mississippi River where we can sometimes have that really high flooding. High flows here, but nothing all that unusual in those areas. Now, temperature-wise, the big story is going to be this ridge of high pressure, and that high pressure dome is going to cause some record high temperatures this week. And by late in the week, it pushes off to the east, but it lingers over the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. So you can see temperatures here. Really, this area in here, we're going to have a couple days, in some areas the entire week of really hot weather. And then later in the week, we have some colder air pushing down into this area, and that lingers into the latter part of April. So really frustrating getting into spring in parts of these areas here with that cold air just sitting in there and the snow. Now, I'd said record temperatures. Take a look at this. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, lots of record high temperatures across the central and eastern U.S. Matter of fact, on Tuesday, look at all the areas that are making it into the 80s. Okay, so that's temperature. What about rain and snow? Here's our forecast, and this will be associated with some severe storms over the southern plains, but again over the Great Lakes. This is going to sort of aggravate the flooding in this area. We're also looking at the Sierra Nevadas and higher elevations of the west, where we could have some heavy snow, some pretty heavy snow in the Sierras. Now, what about week 2, late this week into week 2? Well, look at that dome of high pressure, and I just want to bring to your attention the southeast U.S., a high risk of extreme heat ahead, and it just sort of sits over there right through week 2 in this area here. So southeast U.S., sort of a long-term trend. The other long-term trend I want to bring to you is the Great Lakes here. Right into the week 2 period, this is going to probably continue the flooding in that area. So that's this week's briefing. Again, I think the big story this week is going to be the unusually warm temperatures and the record-setting heat as we go into the week. Have a great week. Take care.